Hello everyone, it's me Bryson P, and I had a wonderful time spending 2 weeks in Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. Even though 2 weeks is nowhere near enough time, I hope in the future I'm able to spend a lot more time in each one of those countries, especially going, more towards the west coast, like towards Bergen, and going all the way up, farther north. I want to go farther north, and I plan to also spend time, in the winter, the summer. I want to go during all the seasons. I had a wonderful time, and I just can't wait to go back, and especially to visit the other Nordic countries like Finland and Iceland, and just all those countries right in there. I definitely want to go to Scotland, Ireland, just different. Man, I can't wait for future trips. But I wanted to share with you 5 things I learned on my trip. Everyone, of course, would have a different experience, and their 5 things, 10 things would be different. But I want to share with you 5 things that really stood out to me. There's a lot more, but these are just my 5, okay? So the 5th thing would be the amount of ice cream. And it might sound silly, but I was not aware of actually how much ice cream there is in the Scandinavian countries, especially just like the places I got to visit. I did not know there was that much or that many ice cream stands, ice cream parlors, ice cream stores. It seemed everywhere I would go, there would be 4 or 5 of them. And especially like up in the northern part, like Skagen, there was like 5 or 6 all just in one little area. And then also the amount of ice cream that you all eat. I had no idea. I seen people at the ice cream stand in Oslo at 10 o'clock in the morning getting ice cream. Like, that's the stuff I would do. I would stop and get ice cream at 10 o'clock in the morning. If that we had that around here, like, that's exactly what I would do. Eat ice cream in the morning for breakfast. Why not? I did try licorice ice cream. It was good. It honestly was about like any other thing licorice that you all have sent me up to this point. Number 4 is the amount of daylight. Even though I was prepared for the extra daylight early in the morning, such as the daylight, the sun rising at 4:30 a.m. and then it not getting dark until well after 2200 or 10 p.m., I didn't realize how much of a difference it would actually play on my body, because I'm so used to it gets daylight here at around 6 a.m., 5:45-ish, 6 a.m., and then it gets dark. So it is 8:30 p.m. or 20:30, and it is pretty well, it's dark. The sun has already been set, so this is what I'm used to. So whenever it's 10 p.m. and I can still walk through on a hiking trail in the woods, it's just a very unique, something that I'd never experienced. And because of that, my sleep was so thrown off, because I was going to bed and getting sleep at midnight, 1 a.m., and then being awake again at 4:35 a.m. because the sun would be coming through the window shades. The places I stayed at a hotel and a couple Airbnbs. They didn't have blinds or curtains on the windows, and I found that very odd. Actually, one of the places did, but they were very thin, and it was almost just really more of a privacy cover than it was blinds and curtains. I just found that very odd, because then, of course, it's full daylight at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. The 3rd thing that I really learned was how easy it is to get turned around in public transportation. So where I live, we don't have the public transportation like you do, and especially nowhere near the size that you do. I'm not used to big cities like that. So when I went to Oslo for the parade and all of the activities, I decided to take the train. I thought I had it correct. I thought I read everything correct, and well, I got on the wrong train. And instead of going, so here's Oslo, and we're going down this way, right? I ended up going way up here. And I was headed actually towards like Trondheim and stuff. I rode the train for like an hour before I finally said something. And I was like, hey, excuse me, I'm on the wrong train. And I had already pulled up the map and everything on my phone. So I just showed her like, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. This is what I was trying to do, and I know I'm on the wrong train. Can you please help me get back to where I need to go? So she's like, oh yeah, you're definitely in the wrong place, honey. So when we got off at the next station, she told me, go over here, get on this train. It's basically, I guess, the express train back to Oslo. So I rode that, I got on there, and I explained to the people on there what was going on, so they were cool with it. Got to Oslo, I went to, I guess, the customer service, and I explained to them, I showed them my ticket because it had been well past expired. Explained it all to them, and they were super nice. I should have a picture here of it. They were super nice and explained everything on my ticket and told me to, basically take it, and this is what train to be on, this is what to do, and they got me onto the right platform and the right everything. So it was quite the experience. Number two, that is definitely how isolating it can be whenever you don't understand the language whatsoever. I'm so used to everyone around me speaking English and speaking in a way where I can understand them. To go completely to another country and just be in a crowd of people, or going to the grocery store there. So when I went to Rema 1000, they were just speaking to me in Danish, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't understand. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they would speak English. But I didn't realize how isolating that can be whenever you realize how much of a language barrier that is if I was in a place that wasn't so well taught and versed in English, right? And I kind of got a little bit of that too when I was on the ferry going from Frederikshavn up to Oslo, because in my cabin it had a map of the ship, and it said, this section, this area at the end of this hallway is where some vending machines are. I went there to that section of the ship and there was nothing there. I walked around for a few minutes, couldn't find anything, and then I found customer service. Walked up there, and the guy was asking, how can I help you? I said, I'm looking for the vending machines. What is that? The vending machines. I don't know what that is. And I'm just like, and then I was like, how do I say this? Because I've never tried to describe a vending machine. I've never tried to explain a vending machine. So I told him, well, it's a machine that you can buy snacks and drinks from. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, you do that right here. And it just was very confusing to me. And, I can only imagine what it's like for people who don't understand another language and then actually get put into another country. Like people who have never spoke English and then they immigrate here and come here to the US. The number one thing that I learned while visiting Denmark, Norway, and Sweden for 2 weeks was the healthcare system really is a lot more worry-free, especially if you have to go to the hospital like I had to go to. Normally, if I have stomach issues like I do, it's sporadically. It might not happen for months, and then it might happen, every couple weeks. But regardless, I have kind of two options. If it's during the day, I could go to an urgent care clinic and get the same level of treatment that I got there in Denmark. Here, it costs me anywhere between $80 to $100 to be seen and treated. If it's after a certain time, after the urgent care clinic closes, my options are to either stay at home and battle through it and, just whatever happens, happens. Or I can go to the hospital and go to the emergency room like I did there in Denmark. Here, it's going to cost me at least about $1,000. And that's to be seen in the emergency room for a couple of hours. I didn't have traveler's insurance or anything like that. I'm sure that in the future, whenever I plan to travel, especially if I'm going to a country where they don't have healthcare like that, I would definitely get traveler's insurance. But I had no, I actually thought, I should be fine. I don't think anything's going to really happen. And if something does happen, then I guess I'll find out really how good their healthcare system is. At no point did the word money or anything about payment, none of that was ever spoken or asked about. And that was pretty nice, because usually within the first few minutes of being here, going to the hospital, they're going to ask, well, what kind of insurance? How do you plan to pay? Well, all these different questions about payment before you even are fully checked in. I very well wish that we could have more capabilities like that here in the United States, where our healthcare is just a lot better. Especially whenever, those of you who followed me for a while, you know that it cost at least $13,000 whenever I broke my leg, whenever I was a teenager. Those are the 5 things that I personally found very interesting and that I learned on my trip and wanted to share with you. This whole costume right here, this is one of my daughters. It was purchased from Leiseberg, the amusement park there in Gothenburg, by one of our subscribers. She purchased all of this stuff right here times 2 because you can see the other helmet. So I've got another one of these, another one of these. These are for my kids. I just wanted to wear it because I thought it'd be fun for this video. I hope that you have a great day, great night, whatever time it is that you see this. It's me, Bryson P. I've got some great adventures coming up in the future. I know I do because I've already got another one planned. It's just a few months out from here. Can't tell you what it is, though. I think it'll be quite the surprise, and who knows. So, goodbye.